Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for this brief but practical session on using the ASCA Student Standards Delivery Plan. We're excited to walk you through how this tool aligns with other ASCA National Model templates and how it can elevate your direct services to students. Whether you're just starting your implementation journey or refining a seasoned program, we hope you walk away with something actionable. Here's just a quick reminder that these materials and content are the intellectual property of the American School Counselor Association and its presenters. If you'd like to reuse or share any of these materials beyond personal use, please be sure to get prior written permission from ASCA. Okay, let's get going and take a look at the objectives for our time together. First, we want you to understand how the ASCA Student Standards Delivery Plan fits into the bigger picture of the ASCA National Model, especially alongside tools like the Achievement Gap Plan and results reports. And second, we'll help you identify the best times and settings to use the delivery plan as part of your direct student services. Think classroom lessons, small groups, large group sessions, those moments when you're connecting instruction directly to student growth.
Let's start with the big picture. At the end of the day, our programs are all about results, the changes that we're helping students make in their knowledge, attitudes, and skills. A strong school counseling program connects our activities to measurable outcomes. As we implement the fifth edition of the ASCA National Model, we're focused on three big picture results. Access, whether that access be to the school counseling program or access to other overarching programs, resources, and opportunities within this school. We're also focused on students' life readiness and academic success. This webinar will focus on life readiness. We know that school counselors implement a program that enhances each and every student's mindsets and behaviors for life readiness as defined and measured by the ASCA student standards. This leads to academic success, college and career readiness, and social emotional development. The ASCA student standards, mindsets, and behaviors for student success describe the essential knowledge, attitudes, and skills students need to achieve academic success, college and career readiness, and social emotional development. School counselors are committed to helping each and every student attain these mindsets and behaviors to promote positive mental health and high levels of academic achievement leading to future success. The ASCA student standards are based on research from the University of Chicago, who looked at non-cognitive factors. They conducted a literature review of over 400 academic articles to find out what shapes academic performance and contributes to outcomes or grades. The University of Chicago's research found that non-cognitive factors are strongly linked to academic performance, which in turn predicts positive life outcomes. And non-cognitive factors are not fixed traits. They can be developed and strengthened over time. ASCA standards are grounded in this research, aligning our practices with what actually works. Research shows that when students develop non-cognitive factors such as academic mindsets, social skills, and academic perseverance, learning strategies, and academic behaviors, academic performance increases. Students' experience in the classroom impacts their beliefs about themselves, mindsets, the learning strategies they choose to use, their academic perseverance, their academic behaviors, how much they learn, and ultimately their grades. School counselors can shape each and every student's classroom experiences by implementing programming aligned with the ASCA student standards. The ASCA student standards are divided into two main categories: mindsets and behaviors. Mindsets are internal, what students believe about themselves. These are harder to measure, but incredibly important. Behaviors, on the other hand, are observable actions. These are things like using time management strategies, working cooperatively with others, or seeking help when needed. Behaviors are further divided into three subcategories: learning strategies, self-management skills, and social skills. Learning strategies are processes and tactics students employ to aid in the cognitive work of thinking, remembering, or learning. Self-management skills are continued focus on a goal despite obstacles and avoidance of distractions or temptations to prioritize higher pursuits over lower pleasures. And social skills are acceptable behaviors that improve social interactions, such as those among peers or between students and adults. And here's a key takeaway: changing behavior can help shift mindsets over time. These standards do so much more than guide instruction. They help us define what belongs in our school counseling program, inform the design of our activities and lessons, assess the outcomes we're working toward, and advocate for the role of school counselors in student success. They become a shared language that we can use with administrators, families, and partners to describe the impact of our work. When you're developing a lesson, a small group, or even a school-wide initiative, the ASCA student standards serve as your anchor. They're not just a checklist, they're a lens. They help you stay focused on the behaviors and mindsets that matter most for student growth and success. We use them in our planning, and they serve as the foundation for the achievement gap plan and our lesson plans. It is also critical to measure student development of the standards. The results we collect on ASCA student standards are shared through the Achievement Gap Data Report and Lesson Plan Data Reports. They help school counselors reflect on students' life readiness. Additionally, the annual administrator conference and the advisory council are settings where school counselors can leverage the ASCA student standards delivery plan to share and advocate for the work of the school counselor around the student standards.
Now let's take a closer look at the ASCA Student Standards Delivery Plan, a tool to help us organize our program around the standards. If you've used the previous version of the plan, you'll notice some updates in the 5th edition. The language is more focused and the expectations clearer. ASCA has made it easier to document your program delivery in a way that's both efficient and aligned with the ASCA student standards. You'll use the delivery plan to capture your direct services like classroom and large group lessons, small groups, and even events for families and education partners that reinforce Tier 1 instruction. This template is in spreadsheet form. Along the bottom of the spreadsheet, each tab includes important information. The first tab includes an overview of the template. The second tab is the ASCA Student Standards Delivery Plan template that you will complete. And the third tab includes a list of all the ASCA student standards. Let's take a closer look at what activities should be included on the ASCA Student Standards Delivery Plan and the settings they occur in. First, let's consider your Tier 1 programs and activities. These are your activities that are developmental or preventative in nature. They're delivered to each and every student at a grade level in the classroom, large group, or small group setting. You'll also want to include Tier 2 activities. These are delivered to a specific student group in response to an identified need or even perhaps teacher request. Often they are delivered in the small group format. In alignment with the 5th edition of the model, you'll also include reinforcing events for families or education partners that support the standards you're delivering. These are events such as career fairs, college nights, and even workshops for families and education partners that are sponsored by the school counseling program. They support Tier 1 activities and are associated with the standard. You may not have a reinforcing event for every lesson, and that's okay. This is a closer look at the essential components of the ASCA Student Standards Delivery Plan. Think of it as a mini map for each activity. This structure allows others, like administrators or district leaders, to see exactly how your work is aligned, intentional, and student-focused. Each entry should include the specific behavior standard addressed. It should include a title for the lesson or session. And if the title doesn't clearly describe the topic of the lesson, it's best practice to also include the topic. The tier of delivery, so either your Tier 1 or Tier 2 activities, who the participants are. So for a Tier 1 lesson, you'd include the grade level. And for Tier 2 activities, you'll include the grade level as well as any other information that describes how the students are selected. For example, if you're running a small group supporting achievement, the participants may be 7th grade students with 2 or more Fs after first quarter. You'll also include the month you plan to deliver the activity and any related reinforcing events. Remember that development of behavior standards lead to change in student mindset. So each of our activities on the ASCA Student Standards Delivery Plan will align to one primary behavior standard. As you work through the template, you'll notice that there are several drop-down lists to help guide you through the template. The drop-downs in the first 3 columns include the ASCA student standards. If your lesson or activity is focused on a learning strategy, you'd click the drop-down in the first column and identify the appropriate standard. For example, critical thinking skills to make informed decisions. You can also use drop-downs to select the tier of your activity and the month the activity starts. Here are some examples. Let's take a look at row 2. This lesson aligns with BLS 7, long and short-term academic, career, and social emotional goals. The title of the lesson is College Planning Lesson. It's a Tier 1 activity delivered to all students in 7th grade during the month of December. Additionally, there's a reinforcing event, the College Fair, for families and education partners that occurs in March. With one tool, you're able to convey a good bit of logistical details about your program. This is not only a great planning tool, but a fantastic advocacy tool to share with your administrators and advisory council so they can quickly and clearly see the scope of your school counseling program. Here are a few helpful reminders as you work with this tool. Link each activity to just one primary standard. It keeps the focus tight. Don't feel pressure to use all 30 behavior standards. Choose the ones that match your students' most pressing needs. Include a range of activities, large group, classroom lessons, and small groups to show the breadth of your Tier 1 and 2 services. And finally, write in a way that makes sense to education partners who may not have a counseling background. To wrap up, the ASCA Student Standards Delivery Plan helps you plan more effectively, communicate your impact clearly, and stay grounded in what matters most: student outcomes. It's a practical tool that brings clarity and structure to your content delivery. Thanks again for engaging with this brief training on the ASCA Student Standards Delivery Plan. We've included a few resources here to help you get started or go deeper with your delivery planning. Whether you're building your first plan or refreshing a current one, these tools can support your next steps as you plan your school counseling program with students' life readiness in mind.